Hello and welcome everyone. Today we will have a look into the Halo clone Event Rising and answer the question of why the trilogy was never finished. And if you have no idea what is going on right now, Event Rising is an American sci-fi shooter that came out in 2005 for the old Xbox and PC and borrowed a lot of ideas from other popular titles. It was planned as an epic trilogy, but instead we only got the first one, which ended on a big cliffhanger. And with that, let's jump straight into it. We slip into the role of the pilot Gideon White, who has been tasked to establish first contact with another lifeform. We are joined by our brother Ethan, but the diplomatic negotiations don't go that smooth. It turns out that another alien race is advancing to destroy us, and just moments after we leave the spaceship of our visitors, the bad guy arrives and the action begins. The story is sadly one of the major points where this game didn't take off. This is your typical save the universe plot, but the writing is everything but good. Especially our human friends are displayed as absolute incompetence, and you can see glimpses of that already in the beginning. Before our first encounter, we decide to get drunk at the local bar. And while that is happening, some Marines appear who wants to start a fight with us for no goddamn reason. But it gets even better, because you will have some weapon training later with those Marines, and because they are bad losers, one of them goes nuts and starts shooting at us. How can any sane person take the story for full? When I was playing this game, I had the feeling to live through some fan fiction of a 12 years old. Back to the invasion, it becomes pretty clear that we are fucked.
Take that.
With our girlfriend or brother joining us, we fight our way to the last transporter. By the way, you can only save one of them at the beginning of the game, but all it does is swap one character model for another. At the transporter, we are greeted by Captain Steele, the most unlikable character in the whole game. What is the problem, you might ask? Well, she owns the last ship that can save some human lives, but is not very interested in helping anyone. This trash of a character cares a fuck about other human beings. Nobody comes on board her ship, even if the whole world is about to get destroyed by an asteroid. While watching this scene, I was reminded of one of my favorite TV shows of all time, Battlestar Galactica. If you have never watched it, then what are you waiting for? But to give you the short version, killer robots almost wiped out the entire human race, and the last remaining survivors are searching for a new home. The scene in particular I want to talk about happens in the pilot. Two officers, Boomer and Hilo, had an emergency crash on their home planet that is currently nuked by the Silence. But they are not alone. A group of refugees managed to get to their ship and seek help. Now the problem is, the ship does not have enough room to fit everyone inside. But our main characters see how desperate these civilians are, so they agree to take in all the children. After that, the remaining seats of the ship are gambled in a lottery. Now, let's compare all this to our video game. Marin here just shoots anyone who gets too close. It is also worth mentioning that the ship is much bigger than the Raptor from Battlestar Galactica. It would have been no problem to get both Marines, our hero and his girlfriend inside the ship, and there would be still plenty of room left to fit even more people inside. But no, let them all die miserably. The only reason why we can come on board is that our girlfriend is a doctor and we are a pilot, so we are still useful for Marin.
Could you bring me a sandwich?
Go fuck yourself.
Even worse is the fact that afterwards we three are the only survivors of humanity. The rest is fucking dead. Good job, guys. For the rest of the story, we worked together with the Aurelians, the good aliens, and I have to say that I enjoyed the second half much more. Especially Enorim here, the commander of the alien forces, is an awesome guy. I really liked fighting side by side with him against the Seekers. As for Marin, she becomes your new love interest once your girlfriend is killed off. Yeah, whatever. What this game really needed were some interesting characters, because we have almost none to find here, and most of them are killed off in the first installment of this trilogy. Just after the first mission, our brother Ethan, or girlfriend Olivia, don't contribute much anymore to the overall story. Even Marin gets put in the background and comes only into action when the writers realized that our main character needs someone to sleep with. For that reason, I don't understand why Olivia was even killed off in the first place. What purpose had the decision you make at the beginning of the game? Wouldn't it be better to leave that part out and rewrite the story so that Gideon and Olivia stay together all through the end? I would even write off Marin completely and replace every scene with her with Olivia. That way, we would have had some kind of character development, and the whole love story with Marin wouldn't have felt so forced. Well, at least there were some cool scenes with our friend Enorim here.
I've never seen a bounty this high. Maybe your corpse will burn in your world.
Surprise, motherfucker!
Advent Rising plays like a shitty Halo clone. Everything has been copied but nothing well implemented. And the horror already begins with the controls. Mouse aiming is fiddly, the main character has a habit to shoot sideways and holster his weapons mid-combat. Even the dual weapon wielding will give you a headache because it can get confusing to press the right button for replacing one of your weapons or to even fire the correct one. In terms of mind games, this game takes the cake. But there is a ray of light on the horizon, because you have the option to play in first person as well. The advantages are that your character won't shoot like a drunk anymore, or put his weapon down after a while, which makes fighting much more enjoyable. The other side of the medal is that you are much slower now and can't dodge attacks anymore. No matter in what perspective you are playing, this game will still make you mad. Enemies will come in huge numbers and sometimes they don't even stop coming. Most of the times it is more advisable to just move on and don't deal with that shit. The enemy spawning is also so aggressive that sometimes it will jump straight into your face. A bit more fine-tuning would have been much appreciated. A lot here still feels like in beta condition. Moving on to the weapons, there's only one you have to remember, the cowl gun. The primary fire mode alone does a decent amount of damage to your foes, but where this baby really shines is the secondary one, which allows you to fire an explosive charge. And what can I tell you? 99% of the enemies die instantly, and not only that, but this weapon also deals splash damage, so a group of enemies can be wiped out in one single stroke. I'm not sure if this is a glitch in the Matrix, but nothing can compete with this gun. Even enemy mechs and dropships are going down with a single shot. The only problem is you solely get this weapon by some foes with energy shields. These shields do not only absorb incoming attacks but also reflect them, so that you run into danger to kill yourself. My advice is to just use the secondary fire mode whenever you see these guys and kill them immediately. Besides the weapons, you also make yourself familiar with the Force, and the whole system is pretty much a rip-off from Jedi Knight. It's not like the game splurged with original ideas. One of the first powers you learn is lifting, and there starts the next problems. While in Jedi Knight there is a separate button to use your powers, here you have to exchange one of your weapon hands and equip a spell with it. Now the issue is that these powers are in most cases not that helpful that you want to give up one of your cowl guns, at least not for me. But even the controls of some of these powers are questionable. When using the lift ability you have to use the lock on target system, which only works in the third person view. This is so ridiculous laborious that I ignored it most of the time. Nevertheless, there are some instances where you are forced to use them regardless. In the end, there were two of these powers that were actually very helpful. The first one lets you teleport around. You can even jump into enemies to bump them away. The fights become much more fun now and eliminate one of the major problems of the first person perspective. You are not that sluggish anymore and can flank enemies or go back into cover fast. The other ability lets you shoot ice balls and they create a lot of chaos. You can also freeze enemies to kill them instantly. Sadly, the developers choose to put the fun things way back into the game. Your weapons and powers can also be leveled up while using them, but the whole system feels like it has been implemented at the last minute and doesn't add anything special to the overall experience. This is no fucking role-playing game, but a goddamn Halo clone. The weapons should be useful right from the beginning and not after hours of game time. Oh, yes, right. There are even drivable vehicles in this game, like in fucking Halo. Occasionally, there are some boss fights where you have to use your special powers to defeat them, but it is not really clear how to do that, so prepare for a lot of trial and error.
Where are the soldiers I left here?
I killed them.
Why don't you little worms give up and die?
And missed the chance to kill monsters like you?
Yes, I'm a monster. The only question now is, do I kill you quickly, or do I pull you apart with my bare hands?
Regarding the graphics, I have no complaints. Even 15 years after its release, Advent Rising still looks decent. Some effects hold up pretty well. But be careful, this game is buggy. Enemies still exist after death, animations glitch out, or the game just crashes, and the latter happens quite frequently. Most of the times when a cutscene is about to be played. If you are lucky, then the game saved for you, but it also happened quite often that I had to replay portions of the game again because of this. In the audio department, we have to differentiate between the music and the sounds. The latter is amateurish. There are some sound effects in this game that are completely out of place. For example, when you ram someone with your vehicle, it comes straight out of a cartoon. Or when you beat up some enemies, Bud Spencer says hello. But even more bizarre are the one-liners of your comrades. They repeat very often and the dubbing is also one of its kind.
Hurry! Get to the escape pods! The station's going down!
Now, where they succeed themselves was in making the music. The soundtrack is just epic and gives me goosebumps. The title theme alone is just beautiful to listen to, and now the rest of the tracks as well. My favorite is probably Bounty Hunter, which plays whenever you have a boss fight. So if there is something positive about this game that you can take with you, then it is the soundtrack. Well, and that's Advent Rising. If I have to describe this game in one word, then it would be unfinished. It definitely could have needed at least one more year of development time. Many things have been copied from other titles without giving them the necessary fine-tuning. The story was a mess too. Maybe it would have been better if the first part only focused on the home invasion of your planet. The destruction at the end would have been a great cliffhanger, so people would get excited about the next part. But true, in Halo 2 there were also missions outside planet Earth, so Advent Rising has to follow his big brother in his footsteps. But don't get me wrong, this game had some fun moments here and there. Sadly, they are overshadowed by the negative ones. Nevertheless, Advent Rising is currently being sold for an apple and an egg, so if you were always interested in playing this game, then you can't go wrong with that price tag. And with that, thank you for watching and have a nice evening.
We have caught an enemy unprepared. It is an enemy nonetheless, who outnumbers our fleet 2 to 1, who has superior weapons and hard fortifications. 3 wings of our fleet have trapped the remnants of the Seeker Armada in the skies above the main Seeker base on the island of Tehran. The rest of the fleet is converging on this point. The Seekers see this base as the anchor to their rule over our world, and are confident that they can hold it indefinitely. We are about to prove otherwise. We rise from the water with the coming dawn, and burn these demons from off our world in one fatal strike! The entirety of our fleet will strike at dawn as well, and fill the air with such fire and noise as has not been seen on this world since its creation. Dawn approaches, brethren. Hone your